Hi, Pet the Podcast Editor. As a business owner, hiring employees can be tough, but just imagine this scenario.
You look at their CV and see that they are a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer. They speak a dozen languages and write poems and songs. They read at 25,000 words a minute. They work all day and night, and they want $20 a month to join your team.
Well, luckily for you anchors,
That is what ChatGPT does.
in this episode, the boys take a deep dive into the ever-growing world of AI and how they use ChatGPT on a daily basis with real-world tips, tricks, and examples.
We are going to be talking about some mind-boggling use cases for ChatGPT.
God, I can't wait for my mind to be boggled.
Yeah, my mind's about to be boggled.
Yours is going to be boggled, and then you're going to boggle me back.
But before we get stuck in, we'd like to take a second to thank our sponsors, Adobe Express. Adobe Express allows you to quickly and easily create standout social graphics, logos, flyers, and more on web and mobile. Click the link in the description to try Adobe Express today. Right, let's get stuck in. This is episode 151 of the Business Anchors podcast.
We're just a couple of business anchors. Welcome to the Business Anchors podcast. This jingle is slightly too long. This jingle is slightly too long.
Daniel Knowlton, how are we using ChatGPT to overtake our competitors?
Why have you called me Daniel? No one's called me Daniel since I was about 10.
Is it your name?
Yeah.
That's why.
So I'm actually really excited today, Lloyd. We are going to be talking about some mind-boggling use cases for ChatGPT.
God, I can't wait for my mind to be boggled.
Some of these are pretty impressive, though.
Good. I hope they all are.
Like when we get into them. But for those who may be listening or watching thinking that they're not that keen on ChatGPT, is it worth investing time in? I've got an amazing tweet that I discovered about 10 minutes ago to read to you, Lloyd.
I'm glad to know you've prepped so far in advance.
No, I added this in because it's really interesting. So Daniel Priestley tweeted this. Imagine someone applies for a job in your company. You look at their CV and see that they are a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer. They speak a dozen languages and write poems and songs. They read at 25,000 words a minute. They work all day and night, and they want $20 a month to join your team. Would you hire them?
Yeah.
That is what ChatGPT does.
Yeah.
I mean, that is clear, isn't it?
It's hard to argue against that, isn't it? And even though there are some criticisms, and maybe we'll talk about some of those, and some limitations of using ChatGPT, even with all of those things that could be valid, just that tweet, I think, shows the value in at least considering using it for your business and your life, I suppose.
I actually really enjoyed, before this pod, I looked at on ChatGPT's website, you can see like the latest updates that they've got and stuff. There's a load of things that they've included that I didn't know about before this. And we haven't spoken about ChatGPT since episode 136. So shall we share some of those?
Okay, so updates since we last spoke about ChatGPT in detail. So even if you've heard that, updates coming your way now.
They've got a new iOS app that's been released. They've got another cool feature called shared links. You know, like when you get a really good response from ChatGPT and you want to share it with someone else in your team, like we have this all the time. They're bringing out a new feature where it's just really easy to share that with anyone who has the tool or who doesn't.
Okay. Yeah.
Also, they have brought in plugins. Have you tried their plugins?
No. Sorry, I wasn't expecting the question now. I had a sip of coffee.
Sorry.
No, I haven't.
So their plugins, I tested this a few weeks ago, are insane. There's two, we're going to go into more detail about use case and stuff. There's two that are amazing. One that it's like called video something, and it can basically watch videos and you can ask it to do stuff with videos. Another one is a link reader. So you can put in links. It can basically connect to the internet on any website.
So for like boomers, like say, well, that could be. I don't mean to offend anyone. It's like me, where I might be like plugins. What do I plug in? How exactly do you use these? Like with ChatGPT, is it fairly simple to?
Yeah,
start?
it's really simple. So you only get the plugins with the paid version, which is $20 a month. But when you go onto the homepage, there's like it says at the top GPT 3.5 or GPT-4. Click GPT-4. Which is a beta version of the latest one. And then it says plugins and you just tick that. And then you can choose from, there's probably only like 15 plugins so far, but there's just some cool ones.
It's as simple as that to use.
It's as simple as that,
if you want it to read from a link or whatever,
yes,
it can do that.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
So Lloyd, as our AI in-house influencer, Can you share with me some mind-boggling use cases that you found for ChatGPT that's going to help us overtake our competitors?
I see. I thought my mind was going to be boggled. I've just thought yours is first, isn't it?
Yeah, my mind's about to be boggled.
Yours is going to be boggled, and then you're going to boggle me back.
Oh, you weirdo.
Okay, yeah, I'm ready to
Are
boggle.
you ready to actually share good stuff?
Yeah. I'll start boggling. So, something that we've used it for recently, which I think could be really useful for people, is drafting documents written by a team of writers. So this is quite a specific example, but saved loads of times and allowed us to provide loads more value to one of our clients we've been working on a project for. So we've been writing a kind of playbook strategy document for TikTok for a big corporation in the UK.
That you all would have heard of.
You've heard of, 3 letters, starts with B.
Ends in C.
Ends in C. But we won't tell you though. And because we've got lots of skill sets within the business, people with specific knowledge and skills that each other don't have, we sort of collaboratively wrote this guide. So, we had some of the post-production team writing sections on post-production. We had people from our production teams writing sections. We had our marketing team writing sections. I wrote some sections. You even wrote some sections, didn't you?
Yes,
I think,
I did.
they've probably been taken out because we only kept the best
No, they were
stuff
the
in.
best.
But yeah, so written by a team of writers, and I can see this being something that in lots of businesses around the world, multiple people working on one thing, that makes sense. So I think this could be really helpful. And what we did, because obviously everyone has slightly different writing styles, even if you give guidance of, okay, we're writing in this sort of style,
tone of voice.
There's people that are more and less skilled in writing. There's people that, some people might struggle with spelling or grammar. We all have different skills and abilities. Some people are really creative with their writing. Some people use really long words and they get really into it. Some people write very much as they speak and quite simply. So to read a document that's written by lots of different writers, it's quite off-putting and doesn't seem very professional.
It doesn't feel like one written piece.
No. So my original plan was that a number of our team would basically draft this document and rewrite it a number of times to try and make sure that we got the tone of voice consistent throughout the whole document. That would have taken a lot of resource, and now ChatGPT is here. Mm-hmm. What we did is we basically wrote all of our sections. We actually drafted for a second time all the sections, and then once we were happy with them, we just asked ChatGPT to make sure it was all in the same tone of voice and that kind of thing. So what I did was I wrote an introduction to the whole guide in exactly the tone of voice we wanted, and then I asked ChatGPT to adapt all the rest of the text to fit that tone of voice. So we were able to focus all our team's resource on making a brilliant document, all their knowledge down on paper, the most value-adding activities, rather than making them spend time rewriting and changing tone of voice and things.
So bloody clever. Like, I hear that again, and I know what you're going to say. It's just so bloody clever.
Yeah.
Like, how much time, money, resource, energy have we saved from someone or multiple people rewriting this huge document?
And I feel we've over-delivered on this project purely because we've budgeted time, and then that has meant, we cut out time that would have had to have been done but doesn't overly add much value to our client. We cut that out and spent it on what actually adds value.
Yeah.
And I think that's what lots of businesses can use ChatGPT to do, to actually increase the value they're offering clients and take out and let ChatGPT complete the things that don't add value.
Yeah. Amazing. Love
Thanks,
that.
mate. Yeah, it sounds like quite a niche example, but actually I think how many big businesses have things that are written by multiple people.
Yeah.
It's loads of businesses all over the world, and I think that could really help.
Clever.
So Dan, hit me with, have you got an example you want to share?
I've got an example I really want to share. So this example is all about how you can turn YouTube videos into viral social media posts.
Okay.
There's a really cool guy that all of you should follow on LinkedIn called Ruben Hassid. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Sorry if it's not. I discovered him a while ago because he shares these LinkedIn document posts with really comprehensive tutorials on ChatGPT and prompts that you can use to get amazing feedback from the tool. So This actually uses the video plugin that I mentioned. So you do need the $20 a month paid version, but it's well worth it. So definitely go and check out him on LinkedIn because he's got a comprehensive guide on how to do this. But essentially, it's broken down into these simple steps. So sign up to ChatGPT Plus to get the plugins, activate plugins, install chat with videos. That's what it's called. Chat with videos
Okay.
is the plugin. And then you paste a link to a video, like a YouTube video, and then give a prompt with instructions. So I just want to quickly read this prompt that he's given because it's just so clever.
Okay, go for it.
So he pasted the link to the video and then he said, to ChatGPT, after reading the script, understanding it and mastering the whole topic discussed, I would like you to act like the author, Andrew Huberman. You are known for your scientific knowledge and compelling way to deliver your message to your audience. You also know the principles of copywriting and storytelling to convince people to never lack motivation ever again. I want you to write 10 tweets from the video following Andrew's style, no hashtag, direct, compelling, and compelling to read. Here are examples of Andrew's best tweets. And then he pastes like examples of his best tweets.
Do you know what? This has given me an idea on how we can potentially use it that we're not even doing at the moment.
Go on.
So we're already using ChatGPT to improve our ad copy that we're writing. I'm just thinking, but at the moment, ChatGPT doesn't have the context of what's in the video. I'm just thinking now.
Yeah, you could put the video link and say, here's the context for the video.
Here's the context, and it could potentially improve that even more. Because we're currently sort of writing that and making sure that it has the context. And then my next point, I think, is kind of going into this, but helping it improve that ad copy. But that this could take it to another level.
Yeah. I think one more thing that Ruben talks a lot about as well, and this is a piece of advice for all the anchors listening, is the more context you give the tool, the better the output is going to be. Like I remember when we started speaking about it, like in episode 136 months ago or weeks ago, I was just doing little basic prompts like, tell me this thing. Yeah. Now I'm like giving it tons more information and context and links to our website, and so it understands us, what we do, and then the answers it's spitting out are so much more valuable.
Because the reality is, like I'm talking about writing ad copy, and if you say, write me some good ad copy for a post selling my service, you're going to get the generic response that everyone else gets when putting in that. So you're not really getting any value. It's just, anyone can do that. Whereas like you said, if you're adding all that context, you're going to get very specific, valuable answers out of it that are really going to help you.
And definitely look through Ruben's recent activity on LinkedIn, because I swear he posts like 3 or 4 of these things a day that are, every time I see it, I instantly share it in the Friday Club because it's just like, again, blows my mind. And then I use it and it's like, that saved me 3 hours this week. And it's just well good.
Yeah.
What other ones have you got for us, Lloyd?
An example, like there's some links to the last one I gave, but it's less specific. It's basically to make any human a brilliant writer. I think there is skills that we all have. We all have different skill sets. And then there's one skill set of being a good writer that probably 95, well, it depends where the bar is. But so say you want to be a brilliant writer, 95% of us probably aren't brilliant writers. We've got all this great stuff that we know about, our skill set that we are experts in, but we're not necessarily good writers and able to communicate that as well as we could. And I think using ChatGPT, basically anyone can become a good writer. So I think an example of this, I recently helped a family member writing a CV.
Yes.
And
you're in the office the other night.
I won't reveal who it is, but they sort of quite honestly said to me like, "Oh, I'm not really good at this stuff. I've never really written a CV before, so I've put the details down, but I don't really know how to make it sound good." And I was helping them with it. And
were you helping them with it, or was
partially was ChatGPT was helping them a lot. But so they obviously they knew what they've done, their experience, their skills. They didn't know how to communicate that well, and I put that stuff in, and basically, so they wrote that stuff, and then I said, "Please write this, in a way that suits a CV for someone trying to get this type of job." Not exactly that. I worded it better at the time. And then it comes out with something that sounds brilliant. So the content and the knowledge has come from that person. And then you can basically become a good writer to be able to communicate that. So, and other things you can, it could be you're saying something and then you could ask ChatGPT to make this more relevant or relatable to a particular demographic. So in our world of marketing, say I'm a 34-year-old man and I might be writing ad copy for a skincare brand for 17-year-old girls. It's likely it'd be quite hard for me to use the exact language and pop culture references and that kind of thing. Whereas you could do that and adapt it here. You can ask it to improve readability. So again, we're not all the most skillful writers, and you can put something in, say, please improve readability, and suddenly it spits it out and it's like, oh yeah, this is very nice to read and sounds brilliant. I've also asked it to improve persuasive writing. So in the world of marketing, we're trying to get people to take action. I want you to click
Make this more persuasive.
I want you to watch this video. I want you to buy this thing. We've tried that. And another thing that I've found really useful in writing. So I really enjoy creative writing and script writing and things. It's often hard to do alone, even if you do see yourself as a skilled writer. But I basically use ChatGPT to like bounce ideas off of. It sounds like I'm a lonely man in a room, but almost like, oh, I'm writing this script. This is a joke. But I need a reference to this, and it will come up and say, you could talk about this, and this, and I'm like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, that works. And then you get the idea. Yeah. I go away and write. So obviously that sounds lonely. That
you're going to end up that guy that's just in his parents' room in his pants, just eating Cheetos.
You know, writer's block is a real thing, and if you need to write a lot for your job, or you need to write copy for ads, you need to write for your website, you need to write emails. Well, so do you write, just to clarify, so you've got an idea and will you say, what do you think of this idea? Will it help me do this? So for example, I was writing a script recently and we're trying to make it relatable to millennials remembering back to the 90s. Right. And I thought of sort of 90s references that I thought were really funny and stuff. And as I was writing, I was like, oh, including these references really does bring this to life. Did you ask it if they're funny? No, I didn't ask it if it was funny. But I just said like, oh, here's a section I've been writing. I wrote about like Tamagotchis and stuff. But I'm trying to include more references to the 90s that will be fun and nostalgic for millennials to hear. And then they just gave me like a bullet point of 12 things. Oh, nice. Of like, it was something like, oh, what about Filofax? Do you remember those things, stuff like that? That was before my time. I think it said, like, oh, watching shows like Saved by the Bell on TV, There's just lots of like 90s references. And normally I might have had to use someone else's time to go, can we sit down for half an hour and try and think of these references? But it made me a better writer by me bouncing off those ideas. Nice. It's pretty good mate of mine. Yeah. Old Chat. Yeah. So anyone can be a good writer now. Even I can pretend I'm a good writer. Even I can. And I might have to wait till it gets to GPT 7.0. I definitely can. Yeah, I know. I've got another really cool way that I've been using it to analyze. Again, this goes back to what Ruben said that I spoke about earlier about feeding in as much information as you can. So talking about Ruben, yeah, I've noticed this happened with old Van der Blom. In these episodes, you find someone and you really you have a little bromance in your own brain. No, but he's got good content. What's his name? Sorry? Oh, Ruben something. Ruben something. Okay. Yeah, no, just... I think Van der Blom might be getting a bit jealous of this Ruben. I still love you, Richard, if you're watching, which you're probably not. So moving on, Lloyd. Okay. I don't have a bromance with Ruben, but as Ruben was saying, giving ChatGPT more context, more information will spit out better results. And a couple of weeks ago, I did exactly that to get help with analysing our content to discover patterns as to why certain things were working. Mm-hmm. And it got me thinking a lot about how we can use this in a wider sense. So just to give you the exact context, I was trying to come up with new podcast topic ideas, but I didn't just want to just think about what's a good idea? I went to input data. So I input our 15 most downloaded podcast episode topic titles. God, that's a tongue twister. And I basically asked ChatGPT to analyze these titles, tell me if you see any patterns, and give me some ideas for some new titles based on this. And what it gave me was insane. Mm-hmm. It basically analysed why it worked so well, and it gave me these kind of 5 key things that will
gave me an insight into why these podcasts work so well. I'll just read you the first one to give you an idea of the context.
Hang on. So you're taking the piss out of me because I'm like using it as my mate, like trying to write good stuff. You're doing the same thing with like thinking of podcast ideas and titles.
I genuinely,
these are good ones. Can you tell me what else to do?
I genuinely go to ChatGPT to ask it for its ideas before you now. So
I do think it might be more intelligent.
I think this is a better answer than you'd give me, analysing these titles, right?
All right.
So here's one example. So it said, analysing the provided list of top performing podcast titles, here are some key insights. Problem-solving focus. Each title presents a specific problem or challenge that a listener presumably faces. For example, selling without annoying customers, leveraging AI, overcoming founder challenges. This focus on problem solving is a strong draw for listeners who will anticipate gaining practical insights or solutions from the episode, right? So that
it's much better than anything I'd say.
Right,
I think that's better than anything I've said in my life, to be honest.
So there's a whole load of others, but I'm going to read one more to you just to nail the point home. So the last one it gave me was intriguing, actionable advice. Titles such as How to Smash Your Marketing Role and How We Are Using AI to Overtake Our Competitors contain intriguing and bold promises, providing listeners a strong incentive to tune in and learn more. Right. And it just makes complete sense. I was reading that thinking, yes, those top performing podcast episodes do all of these things. And then it gave me a load of list of examples of new ones that we can try. It also made me think, Lloyd, just one more thing before we move on. It made me think like we could do this with our email marketing subject lines.
Yeah.
Like give it our most opened email marketing subject lines for the Friday Club, and then ask for new ones based on what it's learned from those.
I think a lot of these examples we're using is basically allowing you to work much more productively rather than you just having to look at this and trying to think, what is linking these titles? Why is this good? And you could do that and you might get to the same result eventually, but it's saving time to get there. And I think, like we're saying, allowing you to use your time more valuably, is that a word? On what's actually going to add to this rather than just thinking, oh, what is it?
It literally took probably 30 seconds to write the prompt and like it gave me the response in like 10, 15 seconds. So
Dan, I think you told me you spent 4 hours doing research on a Friday afternoon, didn't you?
Yeah. In the pub.
By the way, apologies. Anyone that was distracted during Dan making that point, I smashed my coffee mug into the microphone.
Oh, mate.
So
you like genuinely, you always take the piss out of me for being clumsy and stuff. You are more clumsy than me on the podcast.
Mainly on the podcast set. My body and brain seem to do anything it possibly can to be a terrible podcast host.
Yeah. Right. So let me list off some examples of this. In the early days, when we were having a discussion, you would do the For those long-term anchors, you'll remember we used to take the piss out of this. I'd say something that I thought was quite interesting, and Lloyd would just go, yeah.
OG anchors love the
Yeah. So that's one thing. Also, punching the mic.
Yeah. Oh, no, I did.
You just did that by accident. What other things make you terrible at podcasting, Lloyd?
Sometimes I just like accidentally do a burp into the mic.
Yeah,
and
you
stuff.
did
I've done that before.
You actually did
Sometimes
that.
my stomach rumbles so loud that we have to say sentences again and start again because it's so loud. I'm just a terrible person, really.
Also, one more thing. Whenever we try and do like short form TikTok clips and stuff after the pod, you just can't ever do them, and you basically break when you're trying to concisely get your point across.
So anyway, I'm shit.
Sorry, what were we talking about again?
But to try and redeem myself.
Yeah, go on.
Okay.
Go on.
I've got a bonus piece of advice here, a bonus lesson. So bonus, not bonus lesson.
Okay, go on.
Bonus lesson. This isn't ChatGPT. We're taking the anchors to a new level.
Oh, new dimension.
So you might be getting into ChatGPT thinking, I'm so happy that Lloyd Knowlton and Dan Knowlton are really educating me here and it's improving my business.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to talk to you about DALL-E and Midjourney.
Ooh.
So obviously some of you guys might use this all the time, but like, yeah, we know, Lloyd. But people that don't, these are AI platforms that generate images. So we've been talking about ChatGPT that you type things in and it gives you text back, very useful. This generates images and we've been using it to demonstrate ideas creatively with about 10% of the resource of what we might have used before. So a lot of our clients aren't in creative roles or the creative world. So we like to think we're quite creative here because we're come up with creative marketing campaigns and creative videos and stuff. And we're in the world of social, but we might be working with someone who day to day isn't doing that. And quite often we might send people scripts or written down concepts, and it's quite hard for them to picture what's that going to look like. If I invest this money into creating this with Knowlton, it sounds like they've done really good stuff, but I have really no idea what this is going to look like. And so now using tools like DALL-E, so DALL-E, which is actually from the same people as ChatGPT, or Midjourney, you can type in prompts of images you want to create, and AI can create it for you. So we have, for example, created images of pensioners protesting whilst holding bottles of orange drink. Can't really give the context. That's a bit of a secret I can't give away yet. We've created images of someone running a business selling phones from under their bed. So these creative concepts obviously make no sense to you without the context.
Useless point.
But if you think before, if we wanted to visually communicate, look how funny this would look if we shot this with this person running a business from under their bed, we would have to use Photoshop and spend a lot of time going, okay, right, yeah, Mr. Graphic Designer, can you please do this? Okay, yeah, I've spent a couple of hours making these really good images. Now we type that in, kind of picked our favourites and put that in there, and then our client can go, oh, well, yeah, that does look funny. I get what you're trying to do here. So basically, if you want to create any imagery to help you communicate your thoughts, and it might not be in a creative world, maybe you just want a funny image, like your boss, Dave, everyone says he looks like a giraffe, and he's a Leicester City football fan, so you get a picture of a giraffe wearing a Leicester City football shirt, and at the start of your presentation everyone goes, oh, Lloyd, you are such a laugh. You got a giraffe with a Leicester, oh, that's funny. Yeah, maybe use it for that.
Nice.
That's my bonus.
As you've done a bonus, can I do a bonus?
Yeah, you got a bonus?
I've got a
We both got a bonus.
I've got a bonus point to share with you.
Okay.
A bonus example.
You anchors are so lucky that me and Dan have both got bonus points.
Oh dear, we're really losing it now, aren't we? So my final bonus point is something I've been doing recently with these podcast episodes.
Yeah.
I've been asking ChatGPT to write the descriptions for these episodes, and the way I've been doing it, which has saved a load of time, is inputting the notes from these episodes into ChatGPT, saying, read all that stuff, then giving it examples of more concise notes that we've written for other podcast episodes, and said, here's an example of how we normally write these notes from the bigger notes. Now write notes. This sounds like now write me a new note using all that information.
There is a danger, I suppose, that as we don't have to use our brains as much, that we might start sounding less intelligent.
Yeah.
I don't know.
True.
Yeah.
It is on that. This is a really random point. My father-in-law still doesn't understand why we use sat navs and stuff. And he would always use a map.
Yeah.
We're now not conditioned, but I would never try and work out how to get anywhere. I just put the address in. Yeah. So we're losing on that. The reason I said that, we're losing the skills of navigation.
Yeah.
Is that true? Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose the idea is we'll never need it. So it's kind of like, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
But if the world goes to shit, apocalypse happens.
We won't be able to read maps.
You're going to get in the car with him, and he's going to be going, right, we need to get up to go up the A11 to Norwich or something, and we'll be like, great, we wouldn't have known that, because normally we just get told, take the second exit.
How inconvenient is it, though, having a big map trying to read it whilst driving?
Yeah, terrible.
So, yeah, I hope you lot have found this episode interesting and our random chats about maps. There is one final thing that you remember we've spoken about this before, Lloyd. Mm-hmm. Everyone thinks these episodes are free. No, has anyone paid to listen to this?
No, I don't think so. If they have, I think we should pay them back, because that's out of order.
So you haven't paid to listen to this. You think this is free. It's not free.
Mm-hmm.
Our gentleman's agreement, or gentle lady's agreement, is that you give us a review. Now, since we've started talking about this, we've actually started to get a few more reviews. Have you noticed Dad gave us a review?
I have. I also noticed he spelt his name backwards as if he's but he said like, oh, so proud of my boys. And then he signed it off like Cram Nottawonk, which is Mark Knowlton backwards. So I didn't quite get the reasoning behind that.
Yeah.
But thank you, Cram, Mr. Nottawonk, for your review.
Did you see what he wrote in his review?
Oh, well, I did, but I can't remember what it was.
Yeah. Here it is. Cool. I was frantically trying to get it off of my phone whilst you carried on talking. Shall I read it? Would anyone care?
Tell us what Cram said.
So Cram Nottawonk said this. He's you do a subject line or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He's called it Proud Dad Moment. And how many stars out of 5 do you reckon he gave us?
I'm hoping 5.
He gave us 5.
Okay, good.
He said, listening to this episode made me realise how far you guys have come. To be totally honest, I know you have been doing this business podcast regularly for a couple of years, but it's only been the last 6 months that I actually listen to it every episode and really look forward to the next one. Well done, guys. Kiss. Love, Dad. Wait, the extra bit is his classic dad. P.S. Thought I was quite tech savvy until I tried to leave this review, this first ever review for you. Might be worth quickly telling listeners how to do this. I had to Google it, and even then, the first option didn't work for me. Here is the advice that worked for me. Navigate to the podcast on the podcast app, not to a specific episode. Scroll down to the ratings and reviews section and either tap on the stars to rate or tap on write a review to rate and review the podcast.
So, thank you, Dad, for explaining to
Thank you for the tutorial.
all of the anchors in your review how to leave a review. I think the hard thing is, they're not going to get there and read that until they've written a review.
I've just read it out, so it's...
Yeah, okay. I love the logic of signing it off as Dad and saying, so proud of my boys, and then thinking, I can't put my real name. I'll put my name backwards. Cram Nottawonk. Anyway, thank you, Cram. Thank you, Nad Nottawonk.
Thank you,
I've been Jill Nottawonk, and hope you've enjoyed this, and we'll see
you in your ears next week.